Gentlemen, attention is earned, not demanded. There is one habit above all others that draws admiration, desire, and respect: quiet, unshakable confidence. Not the loud, desperate kind, not the flashy kind, the kind that roots itself in discipline, purpose, and emotional control. Women notice it, they are drawn to it, and they trust it. Confidence is the invisible force that separates men who are merely present from those who command attention and respect. It is not loud, it does not need to prove itself, and it does not seek approval, yet it is undeniable in its effect. A man who walks through the world with confidence moves differently. His posture, his gaze, and even the way he breathes carry weight. He is not frantic, he is not restless, he is not seeking anyone's permission to exist or to act, because he understands his own value and lives in accordance with it. True confidence is born from competence, from mastery over oneself and one's environment. It is cultivated through relentless practice, through embracing discomfort and doing what others shy away from. Confidence is quiet because it is certain. It does not flinch when challenged, it does not hesitate when the path is difficult, and it does not crumble under scrutiny. Women are instinctively drawn to this energy because it signals security, strength, and stability. It is not about showing off wealth, muscles, or charm. It is the knowledge that a man stands on his own, that he does not need validation to feel worthy, and that he can create stability not only for himself, but for those around him. When a man possesses this kind of confidence, he carries a sense of inevitability, a certainty in his actions that cannot be ignored. It affects every interaction he has. His presence alone communicates that he is grounded, that he is reliable, that he has something to offer not through words alone but through the force of his being. Confidence is not manufactured through talk or pretense, it is forged through action. It is shown in the man who speaks with clarity because he has thought deeply, who chooses his actions deliberately because he has rehearsed them in his mind, who faces the challenges of life with steady hands and an unshaken spirit. There is a magnetism in a man who does not wobble in the face of adversity, who does not shrink under pressure, who does not rush to explain himself. Every step, every glance, every pause is a signal that he belongs to himself first and the world second. And it is this certainty that women find not just attractive, but compelling. To cultivate this confidence, a man must first know himself, understand his strengths, his weaknesses, and accept both without apology. Self-awareness breeds self-reliance, and self-reliance breeds quiet power. A man who knows he can handle his own life, who can navigate the highs and lows without losing his center, radiates a calm that others unconsciously respond to. He does not brag because he does not need to. He does not compete for attention because he does not crave it. He does not panic because he is grounded in his own abilities. Confidence shows itself in the small details, in the firmness of a handshake, in the steadiness of the voice, in the decisiveness of actions. It is present when a man does not rush, when he does not over-explain, when he does not seek approval at every turn. It is present when he can enter a room and command attention without saying a word, simply by the way he occupies space and by the way he carries himself. Women sense it immediately, because they recognize the difference between someone who is secure and someone who is pretending to be. They recognize the energy of a man who moves through life with purpose, who makes decisions from a place of strength rather than fear, who faces challenges with a calm mind and a determined heart. This kind of confidence is not superficial. It does not fade when the lights are turned off, when the audience leaves, or when circumstances turn difficult. It is a fundamental part of who the man is, a reflection of the work he has done on himself, of the discipline he has cultivated, and of the life he has chosen to build. Every interaction becomes a demonstration of this inner strength. Women notice the way he handles conflict without aggression, the way he listens without being passive, the way he takes initiative without being controlling. They notice the consistency in his behavior, the predictability of his integrity, the certainty of his values. Confidence is magnetic because it is rooted in reality. It is not a mask, It is not a performance. It is the natural outcome of living in alignment with oneself. A man who has this habit understands that his value does not come from external validation, that his worth is inherent, and that the world does not have the power to diminish it. This understanding allows him to act freely, to pursue his goals without hesitation, to engage with others without desperation, and to connect deeply because he is already complete in himself. Women are drawn not just to the surface appearance of confidence, but to the quiet, steadfast assurance that comes from a man who has conquered his own mind, who controls his impulses, and who is unshaken by circumstance. They are drawn to the promise of stability, to the sense that they are in the presence of someone who will neither falter under pressure nor demand more than he is capable of giving. Confidence is the silent language of strength, and it is learned through persistence, through challenge, through facing discomfort repeatedly until fear no longer dictates action. It is a habit that grows from small victories, from keeping promises to oneself, from refusing to compromise principles, and from taking responsibility for every aspect of one's life. The man who embodies this habit becomes not only attractive but magnetic, not only respected but admired, not only noticed but remembered. Every step he takes, every choice he makes, every interaction he engages in carries the imprint of his certainty, and this certainty is a force that draws others toward him naturally, effortlessly, irresistibly. A man who lives for approval is a man who will always be in debt to the opinions of others, and nothing destroys presence, power, or attraction faster than neediness disguised as kindness. Women sense it immediately because it is not just a habit, it is an energy, and energy speaks louder than words. Living with purpose means that every decision, every action, and every interaction is rooted in your values and goals, not in the desire to be liked, praised, or accepted. Purpose is internal, not external, and when a man aligns with it, he is unstoppable. He moves with direction, with clarity, with certainty, and this certainty is what draws admiration and desire. Approval is fleeting, it is conditional, and it depends on forces outside your control. Purpose is steadfast, it is unshakable, and it is cultivated from within. A man who knows what he stands for, who knows the life he wants to build, who knows the standards he will not compromise, is a man who commands respect without asking for it. Women are drawn to men who move through life with vision because vision signals stability, focus, and the capacity to protect and provide in ways that matter most. Purpose over approval means that rejection does not rattle you, criticism does not diminish you, and social pressure does not dictate your choices. It is the calm certainty that your path is yours alone to walk, and that you will shape your life according to your own measure, not according to the measure of others. When a man lives with purpose, he prioritizes growth over validation, action over opinion, and discipline over applause. He does not apologize for progress, he does not explain ambition, and he does not shrink to make others comfortable. Every woman notices this difference because it is not performative, it is authentic. It is the energy of someone who cannot be manipulated by flattery, by charm, or by emotional coercion, and this energy is magnetic because it signals integrity and strength. Purpose gives a man a foundation from which he can act decisively, and decisiveness is rare, powerful, and attractive. He does not flounder when confronted with uncertainty because his direction is clear, his priorities are set, and his values are non-negotiable. The habits he cultivates, the routines he follows, and the choices he makes all align with his vision, and this alignment creates a quiet power that others cannot ignore. A man living for approval sacrifices his energy for others, he dilutes his character, and he weakens his presence. A man living for purpose channels every ounce of effort into his growth, his mission, and his mastery, and the effect is irresistible because it radiates confidence, stability, and authenticity. Women instinctively notice when a man is driven, not by the desire to please, but by the desire to become the man he knows he can be. This drive is neither arrogant nor aggressive. It is calm, focused, and deliberate, and it communicates strength without words. Purpose over approval also frees a man from the anxiety of comparison. He does not measure himself against the achievements, opinions, or status of others. His standard is his own, and this freedom creates a natural authority that attracts attention effortlessly. When he engages with others, he does so from a place of strength, not desperation. When he speaks, it carries weight because it is informed by conviction rather than by a need to be heard. When he acts, it has impact because it is intentional rather than reactive. Women recognize and respond to this energy because it signals that the man is a leader, not just in his work, but in his life. Purpose is the engine behind action, and action backed by purpose is compelling. A man who lives for purpose is disciplined in his habits, selective in his relationships, and deliberate in his choices. He does not scatter his energy on trivial validation, meaningless attention, or fleeting approval. Instead, he invests his energy in growth, in mastery, and in the creation of a life that reflects his deepest values. This investment is visible in the way he moves, the way he carries himself, the way he makes decisions, and the way he treats others. Women are drawn to men who act from purpose because it signals reliability, trustworthiness, and the ability to create stability not just for himself, but for those around him. It signals the ability to protect, to lead, and to inspire without needing to dominate or control. Living with purpose requires courage, because it often means saying no to distractions, no to social pressure, no to the easy path, and yes to what is difficult, meaningful, and aligned with one's values. Courage is magnetic, and when paired with clarity, discipline, and vision, it becomes irresistible. Purpose over approval is not about arrogance, pride, or isolation. It is about self-respect, focus, and the refusal to let others dictate the terms of your life. It is about creating an internal compass that guides every step, every choice, and every interaction, and in doing so, creating an energy that draws others toward you naturally, effortlessly, and powerfully. Women feel this energy as certainty, as calm, as authority, as depth, and as presence. It is the habit that sets men apart from the ordinary, the reactive, the uncertain. It is the habit that signals that this man is fully himself, fully engaged with life, and fully capable of creating the kind of life, experiences, and relationships that matter most. A man who remains calm under pressure possesses a power that cannot be taught, borrowed, or faked. It is forged through experience, discipline, and mastery over the mind. Life is unpredictable, and the world will test him in ways that are unfair, relentless, and sometimes incomprehensible, yet the man who can stand firm, unshaken, and deliberate in the midst of chaos becomes magnetic without trying. Women notice this immediately because calm is a signal of competence, stability, and strength. It communicates that no matter what storms rage outside, the man at the center will not falter, will not panic, and will not crumble under stress. Calmness is not weakness, it is not passivity, it is not avoidance. It is control. It is deliberate engagement with reality as it is, not as one wishes it to be. It is the ability to observe, assess, and act without being consumed by emotion or impulse. A man who maintains calm under pressure does not react to fear, anger, or uncertainty. He responds with clarity, focus, and purpose. This clarity is magnetic because it allows others to feel safe in his presence, to trust his judgment, and to follow without hesitation. Women sense when a man is reliable not through his words alone, but through the energy he radiates when situations become tense. Panic, frantic movements, and emotional volatility repel attraction because they signal instability, dependency, and unpredictability. Calm, on the other hand, signals mastery over self and circumstance, and mastery is inherently attractive. A man who is calm under pressure has cultivated habits that allow him to maintain control in any situation. He has trained his mind to observe before acting, to pause before reacting, and to consider consequences before decisions. He does not allow others to dictate his state of mind because he understands that emotional sovereignty is a form of power. He knows that fear, anger, or frustration are tools to be managed, not masters to be obeyed. Women notice this mastery because it translates into reliability, leadership, and quiet authority. When a man faces challenges, setbacks, or conflicts without panic, he becomes a pillar of strength that others naturally gravitate toward. Calmness under pressure also signals intelligence, foresight, and emotional depth. It shows that a man can endure difficulties without losing composure, that he can think strategically when others are reactive, and that he can maintain perspective when emotions threaten to cloud judgment. Women are drawn not only to the outward appearance of control, but to the inner reality it represents. A man capable of stability, patience, and deliberate action. Calmness is reinforced through preparation, discipline, and reflection. A man who anticipates difficulties, who hones his skills, who trains his mind to remain steady in discomfort, does not flinch when life presents its inevitable challenges. He is not arrogant, nor indifferent, nor detached. He is grounded, present, and fully capable of handling whatever arises. This grounding is inherently attractive because it communicates that he will not be overwhelmed by circumstance, that he can support those around him, and that he possesses the emotional resilience necessary for deep, meaningful connections. Women feel this energy as confidence without arrogance, authority without aggression, and presence without dominance. They sense that the man before them can navigate the storms of life while maintaining his integrity, and this sense of security and strength is irresistible. Calm under pressure also allows a man to act decisively. Decisions made in haste, panic, or emotion are often flawed. Decisions made from a place of steady composure, observation, and awareness are effective, intentional, and respected. Women notice decisiveness born from calm because it signals intelligence, reliability, and foresight. A man who remains calm under pressure becomes a stabilizing force in every relationship, interaction, and environment. His energy counterbalances chaos, his presence alleviates uncertainty, and his judgment provides guidance without force. This quality cannot be faked, purchased, or superficially performed. It is the product of consistent practice, self-discipline, and reflection. A man who is calm under pressure has learned to master his internal state before attempting to control external events. He understands that true power lies not in reacting impulsively, but in maintaining composure and acting with intentionality. Women are drawn to this power because it signals reliability, depth, and strength. Calmness under pressure is not passive, it is proactive mastery. It is the ability to navigate complexity without being overwhelmed, to maintain direction when distractions abound, and to respond thoughtfully when others are reactive. It signals a man who can handle responsibility, who can maintain his integrity under scrutiny, and who can provide stability in a world that is anything but stable. Women feel this energy instinctively, as a pull towards someone who embodies quiet strength, unwavering presence, and deliberate action. A man who is calm under pressure becomes magnetic because he does not need to prove himself. His confidence, reliability, and mastery speak for him. It is the habit that separates those who crumble under stress from those who command respect, admiration, and deep, lasting attraction. Calmness under pressure is strength made visible, authority made tangible, and presence made undeniable. A man who is consistent in his actions demonstrates a power that is quiet, undeniable, and deeply magnetic because it signals reliability, integrity, and self-mastery. Consistency is not about perfection or flamboyant gestures. It is about showing up, day after day, in alignment with your values, your goals, and your commitments. Women notice it immediately because it is visible in small details, repeated over time, forming a pattern that communicates trustworthiness, and strength without a word being spoken. Consistency requires discipline, foresight, and self-control because life is unpredictable, distractions abound, and temptations pull at every direction. Yet a man who remains steadfast demonstrates that he is governed by principle rather than impulse. His behavior does not waver depending on mood, circumstance, or audience. A man who is consistent does not promise what he cannot deliver, does not speak lightly, and does not allow his standards to fluctuate with convenience or external pressure. He acts in accordance with his words, and his words are rooted in truth, honesty, and intention. Women are drawn to this quality because it signals security, stability, and depth. They sense that a man who is consistent is someone who can be counted on, someone who will honor commitments, and someone whose character is dependable even when the spotlight fades or when challenges arise. Consistency is the backbone of trust, because trust is built not in grand gestures, but in repeated, deliberate actions over time. A man who demonstrates this habit becomes magnetic because it communicates reliability, mastery, and self-respect. He does not need to perform or to impress. His actions speak for him. Every interaction becomes a signal of his integrity, every decision reflects his values, and every step reinforces his presence. Women notice this alignment because it is rare in a world full of instability, uncertainty, and fleeting attention. A man who is consistent does not allow distraction, doubt, or fatigue to dictate his behavior. He maintains routines, disciplines, and priorities that reinforce his growth, his relationships, and his purpose. His habits are deliberate, his choices intentional, and his energy focused. Women feel this energy instinctively because it signals strength without aggression, authority without arrogance, and presence without neediness. Consistency also demonstrates respect for oneself, for others, and for life. A man who is consistent honors his commitments, respects his time, and values the people around him by showing up reliably. This respect becomes tangible in every interaction, creating admiration and attraction because it communicates that he is grounded, responsible, and capable of maintaining stability under pressure. Women are drawn to men who can navigate life with steady principles and predictable integrity because it promises security, predictability, and reliability, qualities that are essential for meaningful connection. Consistency is not automatic. It is cultivated through discipline, deliberate action, and self-reflection. A man who maintains this habit has learned to prioritize long-term goals over short-term gratification, to control impulses, and to act in alignment with his deepest values regardless of convenience or external pressure. Every repeated action reinforces his identity, strengthens his presence, and builds a magnetic energy that others respond to naturally. Women notice this energy because it is not performative, it is authentic. They recognize the difference between someone whose words are empty and whose promises are fleeting, and someone whose actions reflect a deep alignment between intention, principle, and execution. A man who is consistent becomes a stabilizing force in the lives of others. His presence reassures, his decisions inspire, and his actions cultivate trust. He does not need to manipulate, charm, or boast. His reliability is its own form of authority. This authority is magnetic because it signals mastery, competence, and the ability to provide stability in a world where unpredictability is the norm. Women sense the difference immediately because energy communicates where words cannot. Consistency signals a man who can handle responsibility, who can maintain integrity under scrutiny, and who can create results that are tangible and dependable. It is the habit that separates men who are fleeting, reactive, or unreliable from men who leave lasting impressions, command respect, and attract admiration naturally. A man who embodies this habit demonstrates that his life is governed by principle, not whim, that his actions are deliberate, not impulsive, and that his presence is dependable, not fleeting. Every step he takes, every promise he keeps, every interaction he engages in reinforces this reality. Women are drawn to it instinctively because it communicates safety, maturity, and strength without a single boast or show of force. Consistency in actions is not just a habit, it is a manifestation of character, discipline, and mastery over self, and it is this manifestation that women find irresistibly attractive because it signals that the man they see is the man they can trust, respect, and rely upon in every circumstance, in every situation, and at every stage of life. A man who is non-needy possesses a rare and undeniable magnetism because his presence is chosen, not demanded, and his attention is given, not begged for. Neediness is the silent signal of weakness, of dependence, and of a lack of self-mastery, and women sense it immediately. It is visible not only in words but in tone, in energy, in the subtle ways a man seeks validation or approval to feel worthy. Non-neediness is the exact opposite. It is freedom. It is sovereignty. It is the unshakable understanding that a man is complete in himself and does not require another to fill him or define his value. A non-needy man moves through life with calm assurance, not driven by fear of loss or rejection, but guided by purpose, principle, and self-respect. Women are drawn to this energy because it signals strength, stability, and confidence. It communicates that he is a man of choice, not a man of desperation, and that his love, attention, and presence are offered because he wants to give them, not because he must. Non-neediness does not mean detachment, indifference, or emotional coldness. It means emotional independence, a mastery over desire that allows him to engage fully and generously without clinging, without obsessing, and without surrendering his standards or autonomy. A man who embodies this habit is magnetic because he creates a space in which others feel free, appreciated, and respected, rather than pressured, manipulated, or controlled. Women instinctively sense the difference between a man who seeks approval and a man who acts from choice. They notice the calm in his presence, the measured tone of his voice, the confidence in his actions, and the lack of desperation in his interactions. Non-neediness is cultivated through self-mastery, reflection, and the deliberate pursuit of independence in thought, emotion, and action. It is reinforced by a life built around personal goals, values, and growth rather than external validation. A man who is non-needy invests in himself, his skills, his body, his mind, and his ambitions, understanding that the measure of his worth comes from what he creates, not from what he receives from others. Women feel this energy as confidence without arrogance, generosity without dependence, and presence without expectation. Non-neediness allows a man to approach relationships with clarity, respect, and authenticity because he is not seeking to complete himself through another person. He is complete, and any connection he forms is an enhancement, not a requirement. This creates an irresistible dynamic because it signals emotional strength, stability, and maturity. A non-needy man does not flinch at silence, he does not panic at distance, and he does not manipulate or demand attention because he understands the value of his own presence and the balance of give and take in connection. Women are drawn to this balance because it creates safety, respect, and attraction simultaneously. Non-neediness also fosters clarity in choice and judgment. A man who is free from dependency can evaluate situations and relationships without distortion caused by fear, attachment, or insecurity. He can make decisions rooted in principle rather than desperation, and this decisiveness is compelling. Women notice the difference immediately because it signals reliability, wisdom, and authority. A man who does not need constantly to impress or appease is a man who acts deliberately, speaks intentionally, and behaves in alignment with his values. He does not compromise for temporary approval. He does not chase fleeting attention, and he does not surrender his energy to emotional manipulation. Instead, he embodies presence, stability, and focus, which are qualities that women find deeply attractive and rare. Non-neediness is reinforced through discipline, self-respect, and the refusal to be swayed by external pressures. A man who cultivates this habit understands that his worth is inherent, that his energy is finite, and that he must protect both in order to live a life of purpose and integrity. Women sense this energy because it communicates that he is a man who can navigate life independently, who can provide stability, and who can offer connection freely and authentically. It is magnetic because it demonstrates mastery over self, over emotions, and over desire. Non-neediness is not passive, it is not indifferent, and it is not selfish. It is strength made visible, confidence made tangible, and freedom made palpable. A man who embodies this habit demonstrates that he is complete, that he acts from choice rather than fear, and that his presence, attention, and affection are a privilege, not a right. Women feel this energy instinctively, as certainty, as calm, as power, and as attraction, because they recognize that this man is not driven by insecurity or desperation, but by mastery, purpose, and unwavering self-respect. It is the habit that separates men who are reactive, clingy, and dependent from men who are magnetic, autonomous, and irresistible, in a way that feels effortless, deliberate, and profoundly strong. A man who radiates protective and supportive energy carries a presence that cannot be ignored, a force that communicates strength, reliability, and quiet power without a single boast or show of aggression. Protection is not about dominance or control, it is about responsibility, awareness, and the unwavering commitment to create safety for those he values. Support is not about coddling or dependency, it is about enabling growth, providing guidance, and offering stability while allowing others to flourish independently. Women notice this energy immediately because it signals that a man can be counted on, that he can be trusted, and that he possesses the strength to maintain integrity in the face of challenge. Protective energy is visible in the way a man carries himself, in the calmness with which he approaches conflict, and in the clarity of his decisions when stakes are high. Supportive energy is seen in the way he listens without judgment, encourages without pressure, and acts without expectation. A man who embodies both creates an environment in which others feel safe, valued, and empowered, and this combination is magnetic because it signals emotional depth, resilience, and mastery over both self and circumstance. Women are drawn instinctively to this energy because it communicates that the man is capable of maintaining balance between strength and compassion, authority and empathy, action and understanding. Protective energy is rooted in responsibility, the recognition that strength is not measured by the ability to dominate, but by the ability to act decisively in defense of values, loved ones, and commitments. It is cultivated through self-discipline, courage, and a willingness to confront danger, discomfort, and uncertainty with composure and foresight. Supportive energy is rooted in emotional intelligence, patience, and deliberate empathy. A man who supports without controlling, who uplifts without overshadowing, and who guides without demanding obedience demonstrates mastery over ego, insecurity, and neediness. Women sense this mastery immediately because it signals a man who is balanced, grounded, and reliable, someone who can navigate the complexities of life while maintaining clarity, stability, and presence, protective and supportive. Energy is also a reflection of internal strength. A man who can maintain composure under pressure, who can remain calm in the face of adversity, and who can take responsibility without flinching, demonstrates that his power is rooted in character, not circumstance. Women are drawn to this internal strength because it signals consistency, reliability, and the ability to provide security without imposing control. A man who embodies these qualities understands that protection is proactive, not reactive. He anticipates risks, addresses challenges before they escalate, and acts with foresight, ensuring that those around him are safe, supported, and empowered. This energy is magnetic because it communicates competence, maturity, and authority without arrogance or aggression. Supportive energy allows a man to engage fully in relationships, partnerships, and interactions without compromising his independence or standards. He offers guidance, encouragement, and presence because he chooses to do so, not because he seeks validation, approval, or control. Women sense this choice instinctively, and it generates trust, admiration, and attraction. Protective and supportive energy is strengthened through self-mastery, physical and mental discipline, and consistent alignment with values and purpose. A man who invests in his strength, sharpens his skills, and cultivates resilience demonstrates through action that he is capable of maintaining security and providing support in all circumstances. This consistency amplifies attraction because it signals that his strength is not superficial, fleeting, or performative. It is grounded, reliable, and enduring. Women notice not only the outward signs of this energy, but the subtle ways it manifests in behavior. It is present when he listens attentively, when he offers practical solutions, when he acts decisively in moments of stress, and when he demonstrates patience in moments of tension. It is present when he prioritizes integrity over convenience, when he maintains composure under pressure, and when he balances firmness with empathy. Protective and supportive energy is not about heroics or showmanship. It is about deliberate presence, consistent action, and unwavering commitment to those who matter. Women are drawn to this combination because it signals a man who can be counted on in life's challenges, who can provide safety while encouraging growth, and who can balance authority with understanding. It is magnetic because it reflects a mastery of self, a clarity of purpose, and an alignment of action with principle. A man who embodies this habit demonstrates that he is not only capable of facing adversity for himself, but capable of maintaining strength, guidance, and support for others without compromise. This energy creates trust, admiration, and deep attraction because it signals maturity, competence, and emotional intelligence. Protective and supportive energy is the culmination of all habits that build strength, presence, and magnetism. It is the visible manifestation of a man who has cultivated confidence, purpose, calm under pressure, consistency, and non-neediness. Women sense it instantly because it communicates a rare combination of power, reliability, and compassion that is difficult to find and impossible to ignore. It is the energy of a man who stands firm in his values, acts decisively in the world, and nurtures those around him with steady hands, unwavering focus, and deliberate intention.